Let's talk just briefly a few more minutes about Kari Lake. Kari Lake came up with a story that no one in my audience seems to believe, and I don't know that I believe either. Kari Lake recently came out and said, someone came to my house the other day and they offered me a ton of money and a cushy job if I leave politics and just get out of politics. And she says it was someone known to her. Now, of course, as soon as I heard this story, I thought to myself, she's a loser so far. Why would anyone pay her to get out of politics when she just loses? She went on the Charlie Kirk show yesterday using this very, very intense camera filter, very, very soft focus filter that she loves. And she elaborated on the story. It won't surprise you that she isn't naming the people or person that allegedly did this. Let's take a listen and see if any of it sounds believable. Here we go.
You were offered money, almost a bribe, from powerful people to leave politics. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was on your show, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and you asked me about a run for Senate. Rumors were swirling, and I told you, look, dozens of people at this point, but thousands of people have reached out saying, you've got to run for Senate. If things don't work in the courts, you've got to run for Senate. And I said, look, my priority is the governor's office, the race that we won, and our case. But if things don't go right, well, then I'm not going to get out of politics, because I'm not going to let the same people who stole this election take our movement away and silence us. So I would consider that. I told you that on your show, and that made some headlines, and that worried a lot of people. And on Tuesday of last week, as I was kind of getting myself ready to go to CPAC, I had a visitor at my door. And somebody I know, invited the person in, and they started with an offer for a fancy job title, a nice salary, a position on a board, if I would just agree to not run for Senate, to not be on the ballot, to just stay out of politics, kind of park it for 2 years. To which I laughed. I said, are you kidding me? I think you do know that I walked away from a prestigious job and a big paycheck. I'm not motivated by that. And conversation went on, and as I finally moved this person kind of out of my house and said, I've got things to do, no thank you, it moved into, well, what do you want to make this happen? We want you out. There's some powerful people back east who really want you out.
Back east.
They know that I will win in a primary, and I'll frankly win in the general election as well. And they're very
Now, a lot of the story, I mean, listen, there's a lot here that doesn't make any sense. First of all, why would someone who lost be seen as such a threat that they need to pay her to get out? Well, you could make the argument, the strongest argument would be that Republicans, so she says this is someone known to her. She doesn't say whether it's a left winger or a right winger. You could argue Republicans want her out because they wrongly think she will hurt them. And of course, she's like, no, I don't hurt people. I mean, I won the governor's race, even though they stole it, and I would win the Senate race if I do that. So Republicans are just wrong for wanting me out. The other argument would be Republicans want me out because they are rhinos. They don't want my type of Republican to run. They want someone who is, like a Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, or whatever. Democrats would want her out because they see her as such a threat to them. Democrats need to pay Kari Lake to get her out of the race because she would defeat whoever is the eventual Democratic nominee. None of it seems very plausible, I have to tell you.
very concerned. They want to put out their typical candidates. And so the conversation turned to what would it be? What would your price be? What's your price? Well, my price is I want our elections to be run smoothly, and I want to be in the governor's office.
Now, of course, this is idiotic, not only because it's really hard to believe, but the truth is, that deep down, Kari Lake, although she wants to pretend you can't buy her out, if the money was right, of course she would do it, right? I mean, it's like, listen, Kari, you lost. You can run for Senate. You can run around and do the campaign and the entire thing. You might lose again. Or here's some meaningful amount of money for you. If the money was right, she would, of course, accept it. So it's possible the story is completely made up. It's possible that it wasn't enough money. Or it's possible that really what Kari Lake wants is to be Trump's VP. We know that on some level that's something she wants to do. But the story as she is telling it has so many holes in it, it's like a Swiss cheese.
Where I belong. And I said, there is no price. There's no price that you could pay.
Which is, of course, a lie.
to make me go away or the people of Arizona go away. We're going to continue to fight. So I wouldn't take 100. I wouldn't take 1 million. I wouldn't take 10 million. I wouldn't take 100 million.
She would take 10 million.
That's how important this fight is that we're in right now, Charlie.
Yeah. So listen, I'm curious whether people in my audience believe this story. Obviously, she's, the weird thing about not saying who it was is if you're truly disgusted with someone making this offer, why wouldn't you name them? In other words, why are you trying to protect someone that you see as a deplorable person making you a disgusting offer that you would never accept? Why wouldn't you expose that they offered this to you? The second part of it is these stories do have an air of the Trump sir routines. They came to me, they said, sir. And like the stories are very often made up or at least extraordinarily distorted. 3, as I'm saying, it doesn't seem plausible based on the facts. And then the other part of it is the emphasis on a run for Senate from Kari Lake. She seems to be continuing to say, I'm eventually going to be the governor because they're going to reinstate me or instate me, I guess it would be. So then why would she be talking about the Senate anyway as the focus from these other people if she's really going to be reinstated? Like, I know you're saying, but David, she's not going to be instated governor. I know that. But if we're supposed to believe she believes it, then why is she even talking about running for the Senate? She'd be too busy being governor. It's all insane. And my question to you is, do you believe this story? Do you think this happened or any version of this happened? Or is it being invented and contrived completely from the ground up by Kari Lake? Let me know in the comments, email in, send a tweet, however you want to get in touch. Curious to see what folks in the audience think.